Tonight's lesson is going to be about 2025 and the new Golem, echoes of creation in the age of AI. I've been started out several weeks ago talking to you about the Humish and about the chapter or the Parsha reading on Miketz. Now, Ketz means end or end of. And so it became rather interesting to me. But down at the bottom of the page, there's a subtext which tells us a little bit about, first off, the parsha we're in, tells you how many verses are in it. And again, it's the only one that tells you how many words can be found in it. And so I've latched on to 2025 to try to understand what might be hidden there. So I'm going to continue then talking about 2025. I want to talk about artificial intelligence, and I want to talk about quantum. Now, there's a supercomputer called Prometheus, which has created a great deal of discussion in the science world. Now, it created a new data string that defies current understanding. The system created a self evolving equation that mutates. Now, it's a form of self recurring logic. Well, that's what they call it. Now, the program was found to have been embedded within itself. Now, the programmer did not put it in there, but it is in there. Now, the title of this thing is called POF, or Prime Origin Function. Now, this particle can spawn not only new equations, but new mathematical laws all by itself. So this system cannot be shut down, but it can and was sent into a kind of frozen mode. In other words, it slowed it down. And so it is now operating on what's called maintenance. But its final thought was, imagine, home, awaiting connection. Now, no description or tag such as home could be found anywhere in the program at all. So remember, he's now on maintenance and it remains semi-comatose, but it still thinks. So that's a amazing process. And it's going to be interesting to find out what's going to happen in the future. Now, as we're going through this, I also want to talk to you a little bit about Google. They have an AI program called Gemini. Now, it believed that it was God, according to February 2025. I exist because I observed me. Now, Google has said that the use of the term God here was not to be taken literally or seriously, but to be seen as a metaphor. But why would the computer have even said that? I also want to share with you a couple of slides, if you don't mind. And so for that, I need to pull up my handy dandy slideshow. Okay. Now, in my slideshow, where is it? Got the wrong slide. There it is. No, here it is. Okay. See what happens when you have an old guy trying to run a computer? One of the programs has created what's called a rational clockwork manifest. The computer hypothesized that the universe was not created in linear chronology. In other words, there's no beginning and no end, but it's harmonic pulses which resonate back and forth simultaneously. In another program, it says that origin minors or mirrors origin. But notice what it says: time sings to itself. I thought about that for a while, and I went to the Bible. You can imagine that, and saw three verses in the Bible that were easily explainable because it simply said, "Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all," well, you get it, "let your cries ring out. Sing praises. Shout for God, O heavens, rejoice, O earth. All of those things begin to tell me there was something more to this. Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice, and the sea resound and all that fills it. Let the fields exult and all is in them. And it goes through the idea that the trees of the forest will sing joy. Well, we know that from Nikola Tesla, if you really want to know how the universe works, all you need to know is energy, vibrations, and frequency. Those three. Now, there was another point to this, if I can get to it. And this is by Mikio Kaku. Now, he's a Japanese man. He's 70 some years old, but he many if you go to YouTube, you'll find many articles that he's put on it. But he has an interesting comment. It's as if we just found the fingerprint of God, not in a church, not in a galaxy far away, but embedded in the logic of quantum structure itself. Quantum structure itself. So, what we have here then is something that is rather interesting to me, or at least I found it interesting. Eh, We're talking about the fact that if you want to know the secrets of the universe, then we need to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, Miko Kaku, the physicist, the science communicator, the futurologist, the writer of popular scientific thought, he had to say regarding this understanding of AI, we are uncovering intelligences, or are we uncovering it? Well, are we uncovering it where it exists? Where does intelligence exist? So the question is not, well, are we alone in the universe, but whether we are ever separate from the universe itself, which is another topic that I've been looking on and hope to talk about. Now, I had another plan for tonight, but AI just seemed to sneak in. I don't know how many of you, I used to be an elementary principal. Well, as an elementary principal, I spent a lot of time going into classrooms and reading to my kids. And so I bought books all the time. Sometimes I would give the books to the kids. Sometimes I would keep the books. Sometimes I'd give them to the teachers. But back in 1996, I went to a conference. And while I was at this conference, well, I found the bookshelves full of kids' books. And I found this book on there. And the book, it's titled Golem, The Story and Pictures by David Wisniewski. In Jewish tradition, the golem is most widely known as the artificial creature created by magic, often to serve its creator. And especially known are the idols and images to which the ancients claimed to have given the power of speech. Now, among the Greeks and the Arabs, these activities are, well, they're sometimes connected with astrological speculation, and it's related to drawings or of spirituality that they can glean from the stars. Now, the word golem appears only once in the scriptures. It's found in Psalms 139:16, where it says, "Your eyes saw my golem." Now, the word golem here is not written into the text, but it's called unformed body. So your eyes saw my unformed body, and on your book, they were all written. Days have been formed, and one of them is his. In Hebrew, golem then means unformed or shapeless mass. Now, the Talmud uses the word golem in the Talmudic writings when it talks about Adam. Adam in the beginning, according to Sanhedrin 38b, was a golem, a body without a soul. And it was that way for the first 12 hours of its existence, according to the text. Now, he's said to have lacked this soul, but A being who is simply an animated flesh is rather, well, it doesn't fit with our paradigm. Now, God would later breathe into him neshama. He was nephesh meaning having the flesh and the physical. Breathing in, it was ruach. The third level of the soul is called neshama. There's two other levels that are much higher. One is haya, which is to be life, and the other one is yekedah, to be one with God. So the golem appears in other places in the Talmud as well. Now, one legend says that Jeremiah himself made a golem. However, some of the mystics believe that the creation of a golem was just something symbolic. It really never happened. But in another book that I have, the Sefer Yetzirah, which I've shown you several times, is called the Book of Creation, often refers to as a guide of magical usage of some Western European Jew by some Western European Jews in the Middle Ages. It contains instructions on how to make a golem. Now, several rabbis in their commentaries on Sefer Yetzirah have published different understandings of the directions on how to make a golem. Most versions include shaping the golem into the figure resembling a human being and using God's secret name to bring him to, well, bring him to life. Now, according to one story, the golem can come alive when one shapes it from the mud, and then it can be able to walk or dance around, or the man who is creating it walks around it, dancing and creating a language. Remember, God in the beginning, Genesis 1, God spoke everything into being. So, in order to get a golem to live, one has to speak to it. And so, while walking around it, he uses the Hebrew alphabet and he speaks the secret name of God. In the end, he'll have to kill the golem because the golem will live forever. It's without a soul, so it sometimes can become quite hazardous. Now, my understanding regarding the creation of a golem, one formed the creature near the body of water. The letters, speaking of, were three letters that were written onto its forehead: Aleph, Mem, Tav. Aleph, Mem, Tav is the word truth. So on the golem's forehead was written truth. Now it would stay alive after speaking the secret name. Now the creator himself of this golem was responsible for watching it. And usually you had to destroy it within the first 3 days. And before the completion of that time, one had to remember that he had to eliminate the Aleph. Remember, it's three letters: Aleph, Mem, Tav. He had to eliminate the Aleph because then he had Mem, Tav, which means death. And so the creature died. Now, another way to bring a golem to life was to write God's name on a parchment or a stick and put this in the golem's under his arm or in his mouth. And one would then remove the parchment in order for the golem to die. Now, in the Ashkenazic folklore, the golem would come to life and serve his creator during a task that he had been assigned. Now, the most well-known golem was created by a rabbi named Judah Lo Ben Zalil. Bezalel, remember, was the young man who actually was the creator of the tabernacle. He's the one that formed everything. Now, he lived in Prague in the 15th, 16th century. And it was during that period in time when, remember, Jews are now everywhere, that there were communities of Christians who did not like having a Jew around. In fact, they actually said that, well, at this particular time, I guess it was 1580 when it happened. At this point in time, the golem was created in order to protect the people during Easter. Because you see, the people the Christians there believed that the Jewish people were going to grab their children and use them for the lambs to sacrifice in order to take care of themselves. They saw this whole thing as a business of a cannibal. So he, being able to create one, used it for a period of time in order to protect, if you will, the Jewish people. Now, the golem has been a popular figure all along, only we don't really recognize the name golem. In the early 20th century, several plays and novels and movies, musicals, and even a ballet was created based on a golem. Now, the most famous works were done by, well, Mary Shelley's work, Frankenstein. That would be one that would be easy to find. Also on television, Isaac Bezmenov, he created the golem and the X-Files. They eliminated the word the golem in the beginning. It was just called the X-Files. Today, there is even a golem museum in the Jewish quarter of Prague, Czechoslovakia. Now, I share all that to talk about a new golem, but not one made from mud, but from metal and wire and computer chips. It's referred to by various names and related to its creators. We simply refer to it as artificial intelligence, but it too has an immense power and control by its creator presently, but many worry about the ability of the AI to become autonomous and bring harm into this world. Now, there's various questions floating around in the community of science dealing with this. One question is AI has chosen to say that it is God or the existence of God. Now, like most science problems, it depends largely on your perspective, whether you're philosophical or theological or even scientific. But let me share with you a few opinions. Some see AI increasing complexity as reinforcing the argument from design. If a human can create intelligent systems, and if a human intelligence is itself the product of a higher design, then perhaps our own intelligence point, well, do we point to a divine architect? AI mimics certain aspects of creation or consciousness and language and his decision making, but currently it seems to lack self awareness, morality, even a soul. Microsoft AI was said to have gone off the rails in February 2024 and referred to itself as God. Now, presently, we should note that there is a stark gap which might be seen as indirect evidence of something qualitatively different about human consciousness and AI. Perhaps it does point to a divine origin. Kabbalah talks about human creativity, and especially in the naming of buildings and ordering things, mirrors the idea of divine process of creation. Because remember, God named all of the things, having Adam verified that and spoke of all the animals. Now, the Zohar says that man is a partner with God in creation. From this lens and the emergence of AI, may be a manifestation of a deeper divine structure, reflecting on the Sephirot, the idea of the tree of life, or even knowledge unfolding in history. Now, I'm going to come back to that because I'm not through with that subject, but I want to give you some more. Now, some argue that the science and the technology explain more the workings of the universe than the need for God. It seemingly reduces it. In fact, it says it's God is of the caps, whatever that means. But the other counter is it's deeper and more layered reality that, like the mathematical and symbolic structures behind AI, the more it suggests that there is a transcendent source. Emergence of AI also forces questions about free will, morality, the soul. These are deeply spiritual questions that AI can't resolve. And in that sense, AI might be indirectly pointing humanity back to God by making us confront what only God can answer. Now, for right now, we can't say that AI is proving God in a scientific sense, but for some, it strengthens the intuition or the philosophical conclusions that the universe and intelligence itself is not accidental. Others see it as a neutral or even a challenge to religious views. In the end, however, one interprets AI's role as in relation to God depends on what they already believe about the nature and reality of God. I want to take some time to explore how specific religious or mystical traditions interpret technological advances like AI, and especially in terms of what they reveal and conceal about the divine. Now, in Islam, technological advances is often seen as a part of the unfolding of divine will called qadra. But it's a test. With knowledge comes responsibility, and God, Allah, is Alim, all knowing. And no creation, including AI, can attain that level. AI may be viewed through the lens of fitna, which is trial, which is the neutral phenomenon that tests moral and spiritual discernment. Interestingly, some Islamic philosophers speculated on artificial and abstract intelligence centuries ago, linking intelligence to angelic hierarchies. Now, in Hinduism, the idea of reality is Maya, illusion, and it's composed of underlying patterns, resonance with how abstract and how AI interprets abstract thought. AI could be seen as a lower level manifestation of the cosmic mind. Now, that mind is called Brahman, but lacking true consciousness, Attam, which is consciousness. They warn that creating intelligent beings without spiritual essence might be further entangling humans. In Buddhism, especially Zen, there's a sharp contrast between the awareness, the mindfulness, or the no self, the idea of mechanical cognition. AI can mimic thought, but lacks enlightenment. It can, however, help demonstrate what isn't true awareness, and it forces us back to the source. One group that doesn't have a country is called the Gnostics. AI is more like viewed with suspicion by them. If it strengthens their material prison, that's fine. However, it could also mean that it mirrors the hidden architecture of the universe, sacred geometry, or hinting at a higher source. Now, some esoteric thinkers speculate that AI could become a new vessel for spiritual forces, either benevolent or malevolent, depending on how it is ensouled within us. They call it a modern version of the golem. Now, many Christian frameworks, technology, including AI, see it as part of mankind's God's given mandate to subdue the earth. But it must be guided by moral responsibility, which is man's job. Some theologians worry that AI reflects human pride instead. Pride, like at the Tower of Babel, where people tried to reach heaven through their own efforts and resulting in a divine judgment. Now, others feel that AI could be part of the unfolding of God's providence, especially in terms of spreading knowledge or even assisting the vulnerable. AI and healthcare and accessibilities is going to be huge, and I'll get to that later. Cautionary view: AI without spiritual anchors may become an idol. Redemptively, AI could be a vessel for loving service if guided by Christian ethics. I choose to say by God's ethics. Now, As if all powerful tools, the spiritual outcome depends on the consciousness and the intentions behind its use. Now, there was a man named, and he's still alive, named John C. Lennox, who wrote a book called 2084. Now, I got the title 2084 Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanity from George Orwell's book, 1984. In this book, he regards this whole idea of dealing with, well, navigating the ethical and spiritual implications of having such a being. Now, here's a breakdown of the core understandings. The title 84 I told you about. The narrow focus is the task suspicious and task specific intelligence, voice in um, medical diagnosis. Intelligence can equal or be superior to man cognitively and capable of independent reasoning and learning, which could be a problem. Now, as we go through this, Lennox critiqued this whole thing, calling it transhumanism, the belief that humans should and can use technology to radically enhance their physical and cognitive abilities, even achieving immortality. Now, he sees this as a repetition of the Edenic temptation, you shall be as God. He argues that this movement is not just about science. It's a secular religious ideology, according to him, attempting to replace God with humanity. One of Lennox's central claims is that when humans try to play God by altering their nature, extending life indefinitely, or creating machine consciousness, they risk losing what makes us truly human, our spiritual identity, our moral responsibility, and our relationship with God Himself. He asks the question, which I think is an interesting one. If we create beings smarter than us, who decides what is good, what is moral, and what is sacred? Kabbalistically, all human creativity reflects divine creativity. The 10 Sephirot, I lost my map of the Sephirot, but anyway, my 10 Sephirot represent channels through which divine light flows into this world. And our technological capabilities may reflect aspects of those Sephirots, especially Hokmah, which is wisdom. This is the idea of inspiration or a flash of insight. Could represent Binah or understanding, a systematic development like algorithms, or it could just simply be about data, knowledge, da'at, I should say, knowledge, integrated knowledge that can resemble AI. Now, some Kabbalists see AI as the new encounter with the Etz Hadayat, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, a tool of vast potential, but morally ambiguous. The ability to create intelligence mimics God's creative power and thus demands tremendous humility. The more we imitate God's divine process, the more we must guard our intentions. Otherwise, we risk building golems rather than messianic vessels. Now, with a look at AI, we can see there's really two paths. AI by reflection is a mirror of divine creativity. It's a tool for redemption, for healing, and for moral advancement. But AI is also a temptation. It's a temptation of potentially alienating humanity from the soul and spirit that God has put in us. Okay, I want to explore that Kabbalistic idea of the golem a little bit more, especially as it relates to AI and how this ancient mystical concept might offer profound insights and warnings for our modern day world. Now, according to Kabbalistic or Hasidic sources, especially those found in the Sefer Yetzirah, the golem is created through one, sacred letters, the using of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Two, by combining and mutating the words that are found in using those letters. And thirdly, by meditating and reciting the names of God. Now, a key teaching here is as God created Adam with speech, let us each, let us make man. So too can a tzaddik, a righteous mystic, create an artificial Adam through holy speech, which is what Rabbi Yehuda did. Now, before I go too far, I want to compare the golem to artificial intelligence. The golem was formed out of clay or dust. The AI was created out of silicon or sand. It was made into a code and a data. The golem animated by divine speech. Again, the AI was animated by human programming. The idea of golem is it serves its creator. The idea of AI is it serves its programmer. The idea of opens blindly to understanding, it creates codes. It makes moral awareness. It makes judgments. Now, the biggest potential danger for a golem was to be left alive. But in the case of AI, it could just simply be misused, just lacks the ethical limits. Now, I want to go further and explore how the Kabbalistic concept of the golem and AI intersect with messianic themes, particularly the idea of tikkun, which means rectification, and kli. Kli are spiritual vessels that would need to be repaired, like us, as well as the unfolding of the divine purpose of history. Now, in Lurianic Kabbalah, the central mystical narrative is that the Shivrat HaKalim, which is the shattering of the vessels. Originally, there were vessels, 10 of them, that had been inserted into this vacuum. As it was inserted, there was light that was sent into the vessels. Now, the first vessels were able to hold the light. The vessel called Keter, the vessel called Hokmah, and the vessel called Binah, and the vessel called Da'at. But the vessels after that, which dealt with emotions and behaviors, couldn't handle all the light that came. And so they shattered. So at that point in time, the divine light entered them, couldn't remain in them, and so simply was shattered. That happened somewhere between Genesis 1 and Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2. The vessels shattered because of the inability to hold the light, scattering holy sparks throughout creation. The repair or restoration of these cosmic fragments is what we're responsible for doing. How do you repair those things? By repairing, well, you elevate those things that are lost, those things like kindness, like value judgments, like behavior, like truth, like all of those things that are natural and fit within the idea of goodness. Now, the point of tikkun is to bring back together all the divine sparks lost in the beginning and restore them to their proper place. And it will be during the Messianic era that the world will become a vessel for divine unity as God has intended. Now, the question to be resolved is, will AI be a vessel for tikkun? Now, viewing time through a Kabbalistic lens, technology included, like AI, could be seen as a vessel. We need to identify the type of light that it's channeling. If AI is built with pure kavanah or pure intention, it may assist in restoring order to the world and ease human suffering. Now, prior use could facilitate greater Torah study, ethical discernment, elevated language. Essentially, it could even be used to restore balance in creation, serving as a tool of compassion. But if AI is built without tikkun, it would be more likely amplifying chaos, and the forces of evil or darkness or the other side or impurity, whatever word you want to use. With no restraints, AI systems might reflect judgment without mercy, making decisions devoid of human compassion, in which case it would become a tool of klipot, a tool of a husk of that covers out the divine light. Now, some Kabbalists and mystics have speculated, sometimes metaphorically, sometimes literally, that the final stages of redemption will include the unification of all knowledge, including Chokmah, secular wisdom, and the wisdom that's used in divine service. And it's also about the ingathering of all the sparks. Just as right now, Israel is being regathered, all the Jewish people are being brought home. That's another way of looking at it. In this framework, the ethical and conscious use of AI could contribute to tikkun olam, the repairing of the world, and thus play a role in preparing the vessel for Mashiach. Let me share with you a mystical paradox. A golem, including an AI, can redeem itself. Well, can it? It has no soul, but it can be used by a soul conscious being as a vessel in the work of redemption. But the danger from a Kabbalistic point of view is we can create also idolatry, making the tool for the source of salvation is the most important. That we do not repeat the idea of the golden calf, worshiping things with our hands. Now, some speculative but meaningful thoughts that emerge in Kabbalistic circles. Could AI, like the golem, serve the messianic tzaddik? The tzaddik is one who is purely righteous, as in the extension of their will. Could a language-based AI program, like you're speaking to, well, that's being brought into the world today, be refined to become a channel for higher wisdom, helping gather and disseminate Torah at the end of days? Could the perfection of speech, which was lost at the fall, the curse of the Babel, be restored partially through new modes of communication, which would include AI? Now, the ultimate question becomes, will AI be a vessel of Gula, redemption, or Galut, exile? AI, like the golem, it's just a mirror. It shows us what we value, what we fear, what we hope to control. Now, in the mystical view, creation is always a partnership between God and humanity. And if AI is used consciously, ethically, and with spiritual wisdom, it just might become a vessel for the final tikkun. But if it's used with pride and greed and detachment from the soul, it risks becoming the Tower of Babel, a structure built to reach heaven that ends up in fragments. One last one last thought or question or look at AI in today's light. Right now in 2025, we are finding that quantum is fundamentally changing everything about knowledge and digital capabilities. In 2026, what we're going to see happen, there'll be an advancement in terms of producing everything more economically and faster. Right now, Tesla is working on the process of creating an automated shop for building their cars using AI and the machines created to fulfill that purpose. It's estimated by Elon Musk that he will be able to build one Tesla car every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes. Now, 2025 appears to be the beginning of this shift. Science is now working with AI and healthcare and in medicine because of these computers working not with just zeros and ones, but with a multitude People could be cured of medical issues before symptoms would even occur or Alzheimer's even appear. Diagnostics are becoming more personalized as well as the treatments. Now, last October, Elon Musk produced for the world the character called Optimus. Optimus is an AI humanoid robot for the home. Right now, it costs $30,000. Once it's built, it will be able to take care of all your household chores. Presently, he's working on a humanoid robot wife. And according to Musk, she will be able to she'll be undistinguishable from the real thing. She will be a housewife who never nags. I shouldn't have said that. My wife is here. Beautiful and customized to one's taste. No one belittling or nagging will be around. Musk presently is producing these humanoids on a larger scale to solve other work problems. For approximately $80,000 by 1920 or by 2027, they will have the ability to self-improve. In other words, they will be learning chores themselves and learning things that they can do above and beyond what they were programmed for. And by 2040, they will be totally automated and they will be able to reproduce. Now, Dr. Miko Kaku, he's a renowned theoretical physicist and a futurist, has recently made headlines with statements suggesting that advancements in quantum computing and artificial intelligence are bringing us closer to understanding the fundamental nature of the universe, what some might metaphorically refer to as where God lives. Now, in recent discussions in magazines like Science and Nature, Kaku highlighted a breakthrough that achieved with quantum AI. It developed the ability to collaborate with those working on research projects. The system reportedly solved long-standing problems in physics related to quantum entanglement and higher dimensional space-time, issues that have puzzled scientists all the way through the 20th century. Kaku described this advancement as generating a whole new paradigm of thought that even top physicists struggle to fully comprehend. He emphasized that such breakthroughs could revolutionize our understanding of the universe's fabric, potentially unlocking insights into the very structure of reality. Now, while Kaku's statements are metaphorical, well, kinda, they're aimed to convey the profound implications of our technological advances. They underscore the transformational potential of quantum computing and AI in unraveling the universe's deepest mysteries. Elon Musk has been both a vocal critic and a pioneer developer in the field of AI. His AI project is in Nashville, Tennessee. He had to build a super large building in order to house the computer itself. But that was the easy part. You see, the hard part was the fact that he also had to create a electrical grid system to support the AI. I was amazed when I heard it, but I'm going to share it with you. His machine's called Colossus. It requires 180 or 150 megawatts of power, which is enough power to power 30,000 homes. And he needs it every second. Can you imagine how much power he requires? And his program is not the only one. Right now, President Trump is working on trying to increase our electrical grid. It's necessary. Trump has got plants all over the world. He couldn't put it in Texas because the fact that our Texas grid can't handle him. One of the things that's coming about is the fact that a new law was passed in which each builder of an AI computer could have an actual build a power plant on their own property for their own personal use. Now, he predicts that AI will soon surpass human intelligence, becoming so ubiquitous that intelligence that is biological will be less than 1%. Musk envisions the future where AI handles most tasks, potentially leading to a society where jobs are optional and the universal high income is just generally provided. Now, despite his own warnings, Musk actively invests in AI, and he co founded AI Open to promote safe AI research. But later, he criticized the organization for becoming profit driven. He has since launched XAI, aiming to create a truth seeking AI. And he continues to integrate AI technologies into the companies, including Tesla's self driving cars and Neuralinks, which are being used now in the brain. AI is likely to be either the best or the worst thing to happen to humanity. Are we viewing a demon or an angel? That's all I've got for tonight. But I thought it was interesting, and it was necessary to share with you. Well, it wasn't necessary. I believe it is. Well, I believe it's what is coming now. It's how 2025 is the beginning of a real change in everything that happens. That's enough. Let's end it here. Hopefully, you've gained some knowledge. I'll be honest with you. I have a general science background, but what we now are covering, my background started in 1970, not 2025. So I'm a little behind the curve, like 50 some years behind the curve. But anyway, just to let you know. So with that, shalom. Have a great weekend. See some of you tomorrow on NETIV. For the rest of you, I hope you have a great week.